Alright guys, welcome back. Big day. Today I'm going to be mounting that big buck I shot this year. Right here. So the hide's been out since last night. And it's de-thawing, or thawing I should say. And as you can see right here, I'll go ahead and take it out of the bags and everything. And then I still got some prep on the form I gotta do. But I finally got the Mackenzie paste in from Mackenzie. That was the one thing I was waiting on, so now I got that situated. I should be ready to rock. I'm excited to see how it turns out. It should be fun, so stick with me. Okay, so one of the first things I have to do is I'm gonna have to prep this form, get it ready to mount. So while I've got the hide sitting on the fleshing beam, just kind of dry it out a little bit before I start messing with it. I'm gonna have to sew up some holes and everything. Alright, so as you can see, let me get a better light. So this nose my dad already messed with a little bit, so it should be relatively close. You want to make sure you got enough down in there that you can shove any of that extra skin back up in there. Tuck it up tight. So I've got this reference picture here. So I can tell that this needs to be a little bit deeper. All right. See if I can show a difference in the nose. So right here it's kind of swooped out a little bit more and it gets a little bit deeper. So the way they come, you gotta really have to take out some more right up in this area, thin that out, and then you gotta come down around and kind of really open that up, and then obviously go deeper like I said into the back. And then right here you also want to kind of bring that, smooth that out a little bit more, make it a little bit more drastic. So I'm gonna go ahead and start messing with this one. Okay guys, so that's pretty much about right where I want it. I'll probably mess with it a little bit more before I actually do the final, before I actually put it on there. But as you can see, it's relatively even. You take this rasp and clean up in there pretty good. Really open it up. Okay, so now another thing on the face, I'm gonna have to go down in the mouth. I'm gonna have to make sure in these corners I got a lot of room for all that extra skin. Kind of mess around with them. That way you can get the mouth, because any sort of that extra lip skin, you're going to want to be able to shove it up in there. So I'd gone through there and looks relatively close to me. And then up in the tear ducts, kind of put some spots in there so you can shove that in there. Alright, so one of the next things I'm going to do now that I pretty much got the nose about where I want it, relatively close anyways, I'm going to take this big rasp, I'm going to go down the back right here, and there's a little, I might not be able to see it, there's a little lip right here, and I just like to take this on the round end. There's a round end and then a flat. So I'm going to take this round end, kind of go down through to the back, try to get that lip off of there. Alright, now I've got this steel wire thing that I'm going to go down all over the thing, all over the mount, and I'm going to scrape it up so that way that glue in the hide has something to adhere to. So this is going to make a mess too. Time for the other side. Alright, so it looks about right for that one, so I'll flip her back over. Figure out where I'm going next. Alright guys, so the next thing I already did it, was sew up any holes that we had in this hide. There were a few, so I just did a baseball stitch right here, and then there was one more other small little hole, and then the rest, if there's any other ones that we find or something like that, I'm just gonna pin them. Should do just fine. Okay, and then over here went ahead and there was I guess from where they did the form, molded it or whatever, there was a hole, a little protrusion right here. So we scraped that off and then kind of filled it back in with some epoxy sculpt, try to make it look a little bit more uniform. Because I'm going to have to put that this leather on there, this pleather I should say. So I'm going to use as the backing for the side that sticks out. And then had my dad come down and check out the nose, kind of fix it. Anything that was wrong with it, we had to fill this back in. I took a little bit too much out. But other than that, everything looks pretty good. So I'm going to come down. Next thing I'm going to have to do is probably set the eyeballs. And I'm going to put that leather piece on there because it should be easier to do before I have the hide on. And then after that, it's pretty much go time. Alright guys, so first things first, one of these ears I jacked up. I was trying to separate the ear and get the cartilage and everything out, and I completely poked a hole through it and it got bigger as I went. So I'm gonna try to seal it up with some super glue and see if that can make it work. So as you can see right here, this is the ear I'm talking about. So right here is a terrible hole. See how big it is. When you're using those ear liners, you got to go up through there and try to separate the ear and everything. So I was going up through trying to separate it and work to get that edge, and I poked right through it. So you got to be pretty careful with these ears while also trying to be firm. It's a difficult way to get a happy medium. So as you can see, I'm going to take this hair and kind of line up where it needs to be. It's pretty close. So I'm going to take some of this Gorilla Glue. Make sure it comes out just fine. I'm going to take some of that. I'm actually going to put it on this outside section. I'm going to try to work my way down slowly. Try to get it where the hair looks right. It looks pretty dang close. Now I'm just going to hold it for a second. Squeeze it. See if I can get this glue to set real quick. When in doubt, use some Gorilla Glue or something, some sort of super glue. Stuff is a lifesaver. I think it looks relatively even, honestly. You see right there, doesn't look like there's any white marks or anything where it didn't line up correctly. The hair looks just about right. So I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit. There's a tick. So I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit. Alright, actually before I set the eyes, I'm going to put this leather piece on to this section. That's seems like everything's dry pretty well. So I've got this Loctite spray adhesive. Says it works on wood, metal, acrylic, foam, fabric, propylene, and PVC. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this off as best as I can. So I can get some of this fuzz out of here. Alright, so the first thing I did on this is I took a Sharpie and I made an outline. I kind of set it up where it's going to be. I made an outline to where I know there's plenty of fabric and went around so that way I can cut it and then hopefully it's a little bit easier to work with. So I haven't decided. See if it'll cut with scissors or not. Boom. Alright, so see how much excess I trimmed off already. And the only thing I'm concerned about is this is like a felt material. So I don't know how well it will adhere to this, but hopefully well enough. Okay. So as you can see right here, this fits just about perfect. Just a little bit of edge, and I'll come around with a knife afterwards and make it a little bit more, a lot more precise. So everything seems to be fitting pretty flat. So it says for a permanent seal, it says to spray both sides. So I'm going to have to spray this fabric and the foam and see how that turns out. So I'm going to give her a shot. There'll be plenty of it. So now I'm going to take this, line it up, try to. Stuff definitely adheres fast. See, try to get everything nice and tight. Kind of use my hand like a credit card on a phone screen. I squeeze all the air bubbles or whatnot out. I think it worked out pretty dang good. I mean, I'm just lightly tugging on it. I don't think it's coming off. Let's put it that way. I like how it looks too. It'll be nice. Alright, so I got a new scalpel blade on here. So what I'm going to do, this is not going to be perfect, but it doesn't have to be because the hide will come over slightly, and I will also have something going around the edge. So it should be able to cover up some of these slight imperfections in my cuts. So I'm going to try to hold this taut and then go down this edge. As accurately as I think I can. Cool. Now what I think I'm going to do on this outside, I should have done that in the first place, but I'm going to come on the back side, try to hold it as flush as I can, and just keep it taut. That way hopefully it'll cut well. More excess. Well, as you can see, one around the edge. Oh my gosh. Right here. So everything fits pretty well. I mean, it's all, like I said, it's rough, but it will look a little bit better once I get the overlayment, whatever you want to call it, that's going to go around the edge. That'll clean up those edges, and plus that hide will come back around. So should I use something like that to put up in there?
Yeah, just right.
I gotta put some on the front too, right?
Yeah.
So now that my dad has helped me get everything situated, I'm going to be sewing up the back of this deer. So this is not my specialty, that's for sure. Alright guys, well, finally at a stopping point. I definitely need to free up some more space on the memory card because I ate up some space today. But I'm at a really good spot where I can finally feel happy with how it looks, and I'm going to cover it up so that way it stays a little bit wet so I can come back tomorrow and mess around with it a little bit. But here he is. It's not the final, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. So also my dad came down and helped figure out how to get certain things. I pretty much have it down, but there's just a few tricks of the trade that I need to mess with still. So I need to learn a lot, but I'm getting better. So as you can see, the extra hide hanging down and everything, and see these pins, he looks like Pinhead. So I like how the eyes turned out on this one much better. I think the problem was I just didn't do anything right on the other one. So, but this one is right. I did not want to mess this one up. And then on the back side, I've got this pad that I still need to mess around with, but we'll get it situated. But I'm pumped that it's awesome bringing him back to life. It's almost like I didn't even remember what he looked like. I don't even remember the patch on his forehead being that bad, or that brown. But it's awesome. That's why I love this taxidermy stuff. But like I said, I'm going to end it here today, and I'll be back with y'all again and move on to the next thing.